Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kevin Moore Show. Now, if you want to stay up to date with all my latest videos, just click that subscribe button below, as this really helps to support the show. If you're new to the show, I interview guests from a spiritual perspective, covering mainstream and alternative subjects and much more. Now, on today's show, I'm about to be joined by my guest, Tap, from the Aletheia Project. Now, the Aletheia Project is fighting back against disinformation, misinformation, false information, and just plain faked facts. Now, Tap from the Aletheia Project is on a mission to expose misleading information across.
Absolute pleasure. It's great. It's great to be here. It really is.
Okay, Tap, I think what we should do just to begin with is just give a bit of background on what this interview is going to be about. So probably for the first 30-ish minutes, we're going to give the platform over to Tap, and he's the owner of the platform, the Aletheia Project. Now, if you just go to show more, you'll find all of Tap's social media links in that section. And his YouTube channel is very interesting. He does some fantastic content. And I met Tap through the docuseries that I'm doing on Captain Mark Richards. And that docuseries comes out next year. And anybody that gave any support or a platform to Mark Richards, like Simon Parkes did, is being included in the docuseries. So, for example, Simon gave credibility to some of, a portion of Mark Richards' story. And of course, knowing the Mark Richards story and interviewing so many people and having collected so much evidence, more than most people have ever collected for this case, in the sense of, past conviction, 38 or 39 years later, anything that Simon said about Mark Richards was 100% fantasy and just absolutely not true. And when I realized that, not only did he get a space on the docuseries, but I started looking into other claims that he made, and again, they turned out not to be true as well. So on my journey of researching Simon, I came across Tap, and we've joined forces, and we're finishing off the Simon Parkes research, which will feature in the Mark Richards docuseries. So I've thoroughly enjoyed working with Tap, and I will continue to do that until the Simon portion of the docuseries is complete. And what we're going to do here right now is that I've done a 6-panel discussion on research around Simon, which went out just a week ago or less, and Tap was part of that. So I just wanted to, bring him onto my platform and give him a bit of introduction. And what we're also going to do as well is we're going to bring Jeanette back on, who was a featured speaker on the 6-channel panel discussion, and we're going to just go a little bit more in depth into her story, and just give the rest of the show to her and just discuss some things that we didn't pick up on during her initial interview on that 6-panel discussion that we had just about a week ago. So to begin with, Tap, let's just look at what the Aletheia Project is, how it came about, and just a bit of background on yourself.
Very simply, I stumbled across a video 4 years ago. It's quite a famous video now. Simon Parkes talking to Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield. I can't remember the name of the ITV show, claiming that he had, with an aliens and his whole alien coming out party, if you want to call it that. But weirdly, I knew the name. I already knew the name Simon Parkes because of a missing Royal Navy sailor in Gibraltar. So the name stuck in my mind. But the more I listened to his incredible claims, the more I realized, well, I need to take a look at this just to see. And what really grabbed my attention, being a veteran, I served 15 years in the Royal Air Force, and as soon as the Royal Air Force was brought into his world, that's what really grabbed my attention. And from that point onwards, I went into the big deep dive of looking at Simon Parkes. And like I say, 4 years later, I'm still doing it, and I'm a glutton for punishment. That's all I can say. But I like my facts. I like my facts, and
Yes,
that's it.
that's important to you, isn't it? I know that.
Yeah, very
Absolutely.
much.
And I think there's a bit of a backstory to you sort of getting in, why you sort of felt drawn to, to sort of look into Simon as well, and other people associated with Simon. Because if you go to your YouTube channel, then obviously there's a number of videos that you do nowadays on various people, but of course, it started off with Simon.
Yes,
I think let's just look at the backstory of that. So there was a sort of mental health issue that you experienced yourself.
yes, yeah. In 2018, yeah. Um, I set out. I tell you what, my reason was I wanted to help, because mental health is very close to my heart. I suffered what was called the perfect storm. 2009, I couldn't walk. I was in hospital for quite a while. I suffered major spinal problems. I suffer from Crohn's disease. Oh my God, I've even had a heart attack. And all this culminated in the perfect storm with me, because living with pain is it's hard to describe. And I basically got to the point that I just didn't want to be here anymore. Uh, and there's 4 people on this planet that know this story. 12 at night. I think it was it was a Sunday night, and if you imagine, I'd been prescribed some very, very powerful opiates, and I walked to my wardrobe, took them out, and I swallowed them. And I swallowed enough to. I'm a big lad, and I swallowed enough to kill myself, and that was the intention. I suddenly this abyss. I was staring down this abyss. There was darkness wherever I looked. I couldn't get out of it, and this hit me instantly. It wasn't a build up. It wasn't over days. This was a matter of hours, and I just couldn't cope. And the last thing I remember, I sent a text to my wife, and I just said, literally, I said, "I love you" in the text. And the next thing I know, I'm in hospital. I woke up a day later or so, 48 hours, and I was told what I did. I had no memory of it. Um, and seeing what I've seen, read what I have read, and heard what I've heard, mental health is you can't play with people's mental health, because it's got real life, it's real world consequences. And I'm a testament to that. And I'm very lucky I'm here. Without my wife, I wouldn't be here. And there's the paramedics, the doctors, and everybody said that to me. And it was a hard time. But it made me reconcentrate my efforts on what Simon does. And I know I've helped one person directly. They've contacted me, and I tell you what, for me, that was a win. If I could, I would have stood on the top of my house waving the flag, and that's all I ever wanted to do, is just help, because I know what the problems are. I've been there, seen it. I got an email. It was one of the very first videos I'd done about the med beds, and I got an email from a young lady in Utah about her 74-year-old mother. She had been watching videos done by Simon and Charlie Ward about these mythical med beds. As we all know, it's all based around the film Elysium. You jump on the bed and it fixes you. It will diagnose you within minutes. You're cured. She was due to actually attend a one of her cancer treatments, and she cancelled. Her doctor, fortunately, her mother's doctor had rung the daughter as next of kin to say, "Why is your mother cancelled?" She rushes over. Cut a long story short, she was convinced these med beds were coming, and this is in 2020. And luckily, she'd seen my video, the young lady, and she's just thanked me, and she allowed me to read the email out. And that was my win. I said it at the end of every video I'd initially done. If I can help one person, it's a win, and that was my win, and it meant a lot, and it still does. It still kind of, I get a lump in the throat when I think about it.
I mean, what was the recovery time from when you got, when you woke up to when, things felt like normal, you were back at home, and you felt that you was in a different headspace?
18 months,
Wow, was it really?
yeah. Um, I I I I struggle now. To be perfectly honest, I still struggle now. It's the pain, but I'm not scared to talk about it now. I'm not scared. It's a guy thing. Oh my God, it's a guy thing. The way I was brought up, I love my father to bits. I was always brought up, you don't show emotions. Not in our family, we don't. And I regret that. My upbringing was fantastic. It really, really was. It loving father, still is with my father. But it caused major problems because I didn't speak to anybody. I could hide it well.
Yeah, and that's not a blame of dad. That's just where
Oh,
that's just the
absolutely
way it
not.
was. That's just the way it
Yeah,
was. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's one thing I noticed a bit different about America is that it's very open over here with emotions. With how you feel. Right. It's a little bit different
yeah.
to the UK. I will
Do
say
you know
that.
the weirdest thing? The first time I actually hugged a guy to say goodbye was March 1993. I just attended a wedding in Michigan, and there was a guy called Ronnie. He's no longer with us, sadly. He was only a year older than me. Um, I went out. He took me back to Detroit Airport, and it's the first time I'd actually hugged a guy, and I thought, "What the hell is he doing?" And he said, "This is the way we say goodbye,"
Yeah, it's
and that was
different,
it.
man. It's
Yeah,
different
and it
over
is
here.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
but
We could,
it's
yeah,
caught on now. It's caught on a bit over
yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, I think I mean you've spent a lot of time in America and you've still got connections
Yeah,
over here as well. But I think right now with the pandemic, it is a pandemic of mental health. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, just even looking at the UK news right now. I mean, Christ, there was a bloody MP got stabbed
Oh,
to
that
death. When it just the other day. I mean, just today. I mean, oh
yeah.
man,
That
oh
was.
man.
I mean, it brings back memories of Joe Cox. That was a whole different scenario, but it's the same thing. I've got I've got a young son. I've got a daughter. She's reading chemistry. I have no idea where the brains came from. Possibly, possibly the milkman. Haven't found out yet. But yeah, even she suffered because even in university, they're so isolated. And yes, we are quite a distance apart. And we're talking over Zoom and things like this. But when you're talking over Zoom with your classmates that are literally 20 foot away from you and you can't interact with them, it's even harder. It really is.
It's put such a strain on everything. I'm not saying that the pandemic and the mental health issues are related to what happened with that stabbing, but I'm just saying in general, it's a bit of a
Yeah.
pressure pot right now. People are under, they're just
We are, everybody is. There are breaking points, and uh, mental health is now in the forefront of quite a lot of conversations, which is good.
I can't imagine what it was like, waking up and being. I guess were you grateful that you were still here? I mean, obviously, your family saved you and stuff, and
Shame. The bit my
yeah, yeah.
the biggest feeling when I realised what I'd done, because I'd no memory of the night, literally the previous 24, 48 hours. It was shame, absolute shame, and uh, it's actually very difficult to put your finger on the way I really felt. It was shame. It was guilt. What did I do? Was it a cry for help? And no, I don't think it was a cry for help. The only thing that saved me because I just sent that text. I don't know why I sent it, and I was she was staying in a different room. I'd been away for a couple of days. I got back. I was very tired, so spare room type of thing. Let me sleep, and that was it. If we were in the same room, I don't think it would have happened because maybe I would have said something. But at that time, that second, that minute, it was dark, and I opened my eyes, and there literally was no light anywhere I looked. and it was just this biggest over this feeling washed over me of you're done. That's it. You can't do any more. No, and the majority was pain, but there were other aggravating factors. But the biggest thing is the spinal issues, and I am registered disabled, and that was it.
Yeah, because I mean,
But
unless you go
yeah,
through that type of pain, ain't no one gonna understand. Ain't no one gonna
no,
understand. You know, I mean, you're talking about pain that it's constant. It never shifts, no matter which positions you sleep in
yeah,
and everything else, or whatever you do. It is there 24/7.
yeah. I've got two 7-inch titanium rods holding my spine together, so I can't even bend. And when you wake up and you need to get dressed, and your young son has to put your socks on, in my eyes, dignity had gone. And that was it. I just couldn't cope. And again, that was one of the factors. And it just one that was it. Boom. And it was guilt. You're absolutely right. It was guilt. It was shame. It was what have I done? I've let so many people down. I've got a lot of friends, and I've kept this silent until now. Really?
I guess you would say then that people around you loved you unconditionally, and
Yes.
you know, for anyone else that's suffering
Yeah.
or feeling, you know, that they're going through a similar journey as what you've been through, that you know, you look back now and you realize, or you could maybe say to people, you know, what this did to those that were closest to you. So, you know, maybe just tell us a bit about, you know, some of the effects on the family at the time.
My son, I felt my son, oh my God, I broke him. He wouldn't leave my side for weeks and weeks. If I walked out the door, if I went in the car, he just wouldn't leave my side, and I broke him. That still hurts. I've got friends, ex-military. Our banter is really good. If you don't understand it, you might think, oh, okay, that's a bit close to the line, but that helps just as
Yeah,
much.
yeah, of
But yeah,
course, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a different type of
yeah,
banter, right?
absolutely. It's yeah, it's unique. Let's
Um,
say that. Yeah.
what advice would you give to someone out there that's watching this right now that may be suffering as well? What would be the one thing that maybe you learned from what you went through that you could pass to someone else?
Yeah, literally, thank God. Don't suffer in silence. It doesn't matter who you speak to, but get your voice, speak to somebody, a friend, a family member. If you don't want to speak to a family member, this might sound odd. Speak to a stranger in a shop. Speak to an assistant. Go to a pharmacy and just speak to a farmer. It doesn't matter. Say what's on your mind to somebody that you know or you think can help you. You suffer in silence, and I can assure you, there's no. It's not good because it's that analogy with a snake eating its own tail. It will never end until you get help, speak up, and literally tell somebody, bang your hand on a desk, on a table, and say, "I need help. I need to speak to you." And I can assure you, just that one act alone will make you feel one hell of a lot better. And if it's a family member, you will feel the reciprocation of love will be unconditional, and it will fill you. It will fill you up with that love, and I can assure you, and that is from experience. So please do not suffer.
Look how many people you're going on to help right now because of what you went through. Had you not gone through this, and I know it was a price to pay for your family and everything, but I'm
Mm.
sure it's made you I'm sure it's improved things in ways that you can't quite understand or can't explain sometimes. Things are better.
Yeah,
I always feel that everything happens for a reason, and sometimes, you know, there has to be a bit of crap, you know, for us to, you know, improve or go down the road that we're supposed to be on.
yeah. I never thought I would be on this route.
Yeah, I know, right?
Weird. I honestly, I couldn't have said 5 years ago. Really? Okay, not happening. But yeah, it's focused me a lot more, and it has
You're good. You're good at what you do. I
help
want you to
others.
know that. Yeah, you're really
Oh,
good at what
thank
you
you.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoy it. It's
Yeah,
to help.
oh, I can see that.
It's to
Honestly,
help.
you really, you're going places with this. I don't care what you think, right? I know, I can tell, right? And I think you're living in purpose, and you're definitely helping people. And I can see now where your passion comes from with Simon. And you're a damn good researcher. Let me just say that, because when we met, I had things that you needed, and you definitely had things that I needed. And when we combined, I was like, oh my god, this is such good research that
Yeah,
you've done. Do you know what
we've
I
got a
mean?
lot. My
Yes,
lord, have we got a
yeah.
lot? Yeah.
So I can understand where with people like Simon right now that you're coming in because you're not out there to attack him. You're not
No,
out there,
absolutely not.
absolutely not,
No,
or make accusations that aren't true. You will soon back him up if there's something that he's done that is good or true in a sense, right?
absolutely. Yeah, I will give where credit is due. I will give credit every time. Absolutely. Yeah. It's unfair not to.
I think I've said this already. The reason why I'm doing the doing this and including Simon in in my Mark Richards docu series. And when I realized just how much bullshit that he was saying about Mark Richards in his response to 66,000 people ish that he put out all the couple of years ago, I just I realized at that moment, well, if he's going to bullshit about this, could he be bullshitting about other stuff? And then I found other things like we discovered, and you discovered the card, the birthday card. Then there was the RAF base that he went to. That's part of his backstory, which we're looking into, which is actually showing to be not the case of what he's saying. Then there's his grandfather's medals that aren't aligning up to what he
Yeah, yeah.
stated publicly. There's so much stuff that we're going to be putting out soon, but yeah, it's just a lot of fantasy BS stuff.
This is the thing. It's so simple. It's so simple to prove his bullshit. It's weapons grade bullshit, and it's not even difficult. Yes, there is a lot is actually very difficult to uncover and to prove. That's the bit I really like. But even the simple things in everything he says, it's not everything, and it's not everything. I'll take that back. He's not like a lot of the others. Like I said, I'll always give him credit. He doesn't charge for this so-called insider intelligence. One, because there isn't any, and two, he wouldn't. Now, does he take donations? Absolutely. There's a big button on his website saying donate. That's voluntary. Fair enough. But you don't have to pay an upfront fee to either join his connecting consciousness or get some sort of waffle that somebody called the 17th letter of the alphabet, which is really stupid, saying, oh, this is going to happen today. Oh, no, it didn't, because I've just thrown the goalpost 3 months down the line. He doesn't sell the information, and I will give him that due where credit is due, and he doesn't sell it.
What is your gripe, do you think? If not gripe, if that's the wrong word, but what is your what's causing you then to want to really be here now and be putting all this effort into him?
The hopium that he sells, I know it's fake. Again, I've disproved it on numerous occasions, but the hopium that is linked to these alleged medical these med beds, this so-called treatment that's been given by the galactic beings. Yeah, if you watch Star Trek, okay. If you watched Elysium, fine. This is the problem. It's the same as the healing. He's not. He claims to be a healer or a therapist. I'm not saying he's not a registered therapist. I've checked. But he claims to be able to heal people's minds by going into them. Yeah, no, that's not right. If somebody comes to somebody, as we both well know, with a genuine mental health issue and does what he has done in his own words, and we have his own words now, that is what I've got to go after. And until I draw my last breath, I will make sure, and I will continue doing this. I will make sure he answers one day, and he will have to answer, and he should have. Hopefully, he should answer from this video alone. because there are a lot of accusations here.
Yeah, but he would never answer to come on with a debate with us. He's
No,
too much. He's too much of a coward for that. I feel.
yeah,
Not that we would use abusive language to him, or we
I
would
wouldn't
be
belittle. I
nasty.
wouldn't. Yeah,
Nor would
I
I.
wouldn't belittle him. I
I
wouldn't
know.
berate him.
I know. He may
Yeah.
feel that some things I've done are belittle, or
And me, yeah,
yeah,
I've
right,
laughed
right,
when he said things.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
But you know what? No, no, no.
No,
That's not
I'm
the way.
happy to go for. I am. I tell you what. If Simon, let me. Simon Parks. If you watch this, I will quite happily debate you Oxford rules with a moderator, nice and quietly, carefully, succinct, and we will do it properly as per Oxford rules. I've got thousands of questions for you. Take me up on my offer. Take Kevin up on his offer. Come and debate one at a time. If you want to take us both on, fine. We'll use Oxford rules, but come and answer our questions. We'll do it live, and then everybody can see it. Not a problem. There you go.
Yeah, and the only reason he wouldn't is because he really feels it would damage him, because he knows deep down that maybe a lot of the stuff that he's saying is just not true. And
Yeah, and it's true. And you and I, time and time again, have proved it's not true.
yes, and what we're about to share here is more of
Yeah,
Jeanette's
it
story,
is.
obviously in depth. But there was another Jane Doe that came to me that told me about her story of meeting someone from the organization and going there for help, and it turning into this sort of this venue to sort of meet up, and they did meet up in the end, and they hooked up overnight, I believe. And she told me her story in a previous show, but I think it's just worth repeating that interview. Well, not interview, but that actor reenactment. So this is a like for like actor reenactment of what the Jane Doe told me of what she experienced. And she didn't want to show her face because she was scared of he had threatened to sue her if she ever talked. And so this is her alleged allegation under a Jane Doe name.
I have had people contact me about it, but I was pretty confident that they were victim gleaners, that sort of thing. That they were just sort of making these documentaries sort of to defend. That's why I chose not to really do anything before. So I can understand why women didn't come forward because of the threat. I was threatened. I was looking for help, and he got back to me straight away. And saying I was part something else and part something else. He invited me over for a weekend over tea. We met, and it's been years, so everything now is like completely. I can't remember everything, if you know what I mean. So I went over, and I don't know, but he got his claws into me. It was almost like brainwash, if you know what I mean. I don't know, but everything inside me was saying, don't go near him, don't go near him. And we went for dinner, and then he started asking me quite bizarre things. He told me that he had a sex altar in his house, and he wanted my menstrual blood on one of his ties. And he gave me a tie to do this, and he wanted it posted over, and that this would really sort of please him if I did this. That was the sort of major thing that stuck out for me. And then after that weekend, I had sort of said, like, this isn't right. I know that was the one thing that sort of really stuck out for me. He kept telling me, oh, you're so special. You're this, you're that, you're whatever. And, he kept telling me, oh, you're so special to me. You're really special. He kept building me up. oh, you're special, you're so special, you're psychic, you're this, you're that, you're the other. And he wanted to have sex with me without protection. And I don't know, so it's sort of patchy. The weekend after I met him, he said, oh, don't worry, I'll be watching you. And I was like, what the hell does he mean by that? At this stage, he hadn't got any of my menstrual blood. He had me brainwashed to the point that I was actually going to do it. And something inside me was just screaming, no. I hadn't done it. And I ended up throwing the tie in the fire and just saying, what am I doing? You know, it was like I was willing to do absolutely anything for that man. And that's completely out of character for me. I mean, I'm strong and independent. This is not the way that I act. He shouldn't have been treating women the way that he was. It was an absolute disgrace that he was able to do that, because it's about time now. I tried to get it all out, I don't know, and I was shut down. So I got shredded to pieces for saying anything. And I was just like, well, you know what? It's going to come out sooner or later.
What do you feel when this whole barrier is broken when it comes to client and healer, in a sense, or counselor?
Well, it's regardless of the profession. I mean, let's look at the profession. Let's look at a therapist. Let's look at a healer, and let's look at a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Now, there is a distinct line in the sand. You can go up to it. You can never go over this line. It does not matter. Many people, and they're out there. There are cases where that line has been breached by registered and qualified therapists, psychologists, whatever, and they've gone to prison. Now, if you claim to be a healer, you are there to heal, in that case, a young person's mind. They are suffering. They are suffering from things I don't 100% truly understand. I understand the suffering, I really do. But I wouldn't walk into my therapist's office when I was actively having therapy with a psychiatrist. And there is no way we set. She was a female. Obviously, I'm a big, hairy, ugly male. We had the boundaries were instant, and I discussed with her, we can't talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. This is the reason I'm here. Nothing else, but obviously they're very good at getting the information out. So it does, I said far more than I wanted to, but she was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it helped me. Now, at no point did I feel that she was within a mile of that ethical line, that moral line. They all keep saying, well, you've got to have your moral compass and it's set in the correct direction. To be perfectly honest, I think their moral compass fell off, and his has definitely fallen off, because there is no way a healer could call themselves a healer by doing that, requesting what we've just heard. It's, and what we're going to hear as well. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah, no. Oh Lord, it's not. That is of a nature that is disturbing to me and disturbing to many others that have heard it.
What about his close allies, his close supporters, and even him, right? But people around him that's close, and for Simon, who would say, well, look, that was, 5 years ago or 4 years ago. I've changed now. I would never, but he's never admitted to his issues, never admitted to them.
No,
right?
absolutely not. No.
But even to say, that's done now, I'm not that person. Daddy has left me, this Draco entity that I was working with. So it's all over. It was all Daddy's fault. And here's some screenshots of him right now, where he admits that he had an issue and that he had to let this entity go that had been with him since childhood, and therefore it's fuck all to do with me. Thank you very much. All is good. Carry on. And it's not happening no more.
What scares me is, I obviously the interview where he admitted to it. There's no empathy. it's looking. I won't make any allegations against him, but his eyes were dead in that interview that from quite a few years ago. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, the Galactic one. There is no emotion in his eyes. There is no emotion in his face. There is no empathy. And somebody without empathy is dangerous. Absolutely. They are a dangerous person. If they cannot show any form of empathy towards another human being, well,
But
they
in
should
his
not be a
mind,
healer.
in his mind, it's not him. It's this entity that's.
Which is, well, yeah, which is worse. But the problem is, once you live the fantasy for so long, you believe the fantasy.
Or even if there is some truth in it, where is his responsibility?
Yeah.
So, So I think what we should do here, Tap, is we should now turn this over to Jeanette. And I thank you for sharing your story as well. You're going to stay with us and we're going to put some commentary over Jeanette's interview. So Jeanette was originally interviewed on Steve Cambian's show. And what I've done is I've re-interviewed Jeanette because there were some missing bits in her story. And I agreed with Jeanette that we could go a bit deeper into her story and get the sort of the final version out there. I think it's important just to note that we are going to just touch on Patrick's story just very, very briefly, just a few very short clips. Patrick is Jeanette's very good friend. Patrick initially came to CC to try to get access to Simon for Simon to help Jeanette. And what we're going to do is we're just going to show an email that Patrick initially sent into CC. So we'll link the email below. Like I said, we'll play a few clips of Patrick and then go straight to Jeanette's interview as well.
Yeah, within even the first, literally the first sentence, really dark place, darkness. She's talking about darkness in the planet, and yeah, I mean, yes, she's a spiritual person. Who, I mean, okay, that's absolutely fine, but you can. If you read this and close your eyes and think about what's been said, you can actually hear the desperation in Patrick's words, which is frightening, because he's calling, as it says that as we saw it. Please, within a week, no more than 3 weeks, she needs help, and it's quite a heavy email to read.
Before we play Patrick's clips and get into Jeanette's new interview that we're going to review, this is the end of part 1, and I just want to thank everyone for watching part 1, and please join us back very soon on the part 2 of this show. Thank you.